Hi everyone! One of the most important social features in Diablo 4 are clans, and I'm going to tell you all about them. If you have played Diablo 3 before this, then you will definitely recognize most of those features. It's actually a very similar system to Diablo 3, but I'm going to go over it and talk about the little details and also about some other systems that we might or might not have in the game. So let's start with the clans, and I can show it you directly here from Diablo 3 in the game. So I have a clan here, for example, and it's very similar in Diablo 4. Unfortunately, I can't show you the exact in-game footage here. But essentially, you see this roster here of clan members, and you see people's characters and the levels, and I'm not sure about the offline time, but you see the ranks, for example. And there's also, I think, the same limit of maximum members, which is 150. So this is essentially a copy-paste of what we have here. There's also a news board or a message of the day you can add. So you can create a post and these kind of things. So that also works very similar. And we also have certain settings. So we can have certain member ranks here, leader, officer, member. And I think there's also another rank, recruit. So if you want to have someone as kind of a, tryout member, you can kick them later if they don't behave. Then you can give them reduced rights or something like that, so they don't cause any trouble. So that basically exists in Diablo 4 exactly like this, I would say. Now, if you're worried that you have to join a clan or there's any kind of advantages attached to this or so, then let me tell you, this is actually not the case. So it might be possible that this might be introduced later down the line. But at least from what we know and also from what I gather from developer interviews, nothing of this sort is happening, at least for launch. So you don't have to join a clan to get an advantage, get some, I don't know, faster XP or some, lower Hearthstone cooldown like in WoW or something like this. And it's purely for the social, features basically. So you can group up with people, you can find like-minded people, etc. And just, have kind of a core group of people to play and interact and trade with, for example. In fact, one feature that's actually new in Diablo 4 are the clan labels. So this is something where you can select kind of a purpose for your clan. And you can, for example, say this is more for, hardcore blasting, or this is more casual and these kind of things. I don't know the exact categories now, but it goes somewhere in that direction. So you can also find a clan that suits you more than, something that you just have a list of clans and you have no clue what they're about. So there is a bit of customization there, and people can join and, request to join on a specific clan that they think would fit them. There's also the clan heraldry feature. So this allows you to make some kind of banner. It's a bit like the D3 as well, where you have this clan banner, I believe, or at least a character banner. And this is also just something to display your clan. I'm not exactly sure where in the game, but that already is in this clan feature. So you have a little recognition there. If you're wondering about communities, those actually do not exist in Diablo 4 right now, but it seems very likely that they will be introduced, maybe even on launch. So I asked about this question specifically because I was curious, and in one of the developer interviews, they said that they also like that feature from Diablo 3. So if you don't know what communities are, they're essentially a little bit like clans, but a bit more of a loose assembly. So usually it can be much larger. You can see this here, for example. I have this interface here in Diablo 3 again. And some of those communities are insanely large, and you can join them, and they're usually used for certain activities. So instead of having your group of friends or your bigger community to play with regularly, here you have basically random people, but they all have kind of one purpose in mind. In Diablo 3, you have, for example, this bounty split farm community. You have the Greater Rift community. I'm not really using them that much anymore these days, but they definitely were very useful for me in the past. And I think such a system will definitely do well in Diablo 4 as well. So this also allows you to just join multiple communities for separate purposes. In Diablo 4, we could imagine there's going to be some kind of PvP community. There's going to be some kind of trading stuff. There's going to be some kind of maybe high-end nightmare dungeon pushing community. These kind of things where people kind of decide to join this or that community, and usually also don't have strict rules of entry, and people, you can usually just join a community. For example, most of them are at least open in D3, and there's no like some clan leader that needs to accept it. And then you just group up with other people in a random chat room, and you can LFG there, and that also facilitates group play a lot. Lastly, let's talk about the friends list for completion's sake. So in Diablo 4, there is a friends list, of course, and this works a bit differently though. So instead of just logging to the game and then you're sitting in the main menu like I am here right now, you actually go into the game world with your character. You don't actually even have access to the friends list when you just log into the game menu. So instead, and this is also what the developers said in one of the interviews, for example, they want the game world to be the game lobby. So you log in and then you're like standing around in town, and then you open a friend list and you can invite people, you can request to join party and these kind of things directly from there. And whenever you do that, you will also like transfer your character into the new party world state, so to say. So if you're the party leader, then everyone will be on your world state, and if you join another party, it will be on the party leader's world state. So this means that every time you log into the game and you're not really sure like what to do or who to group up with, you actually have to log in first and with any of your characters, and then you can decide to do this or that. So for example, if you have multiple characters, this might be a bit troublesome because you have to go through loading screens again, change characters again, potentially, and these kind of things. Also, the friend list works a little bit differently. So for example, I think it shows the character name as the first, like the big prominent name, and then below it you have like the account name. Whereas for example in Diablo 3 you only see the account name and then you see the character name when you mouse over someone. So this is also a bit changed. I don't recall exactly right now if you can actually mouse over people and see some more information, but you can, for example, view your profile. So TLDR, number one, the features are very similar to Diablo 3. So if you are familiar with that game, you're going to recognize everything really easily there, with the exception of communities, which we might get later or even on launch. At least in the current version, they were not there, but it seems like the developers have an eye on that. And number two, the lobby is the game world. So you have to log in with a character and then you can group up with people. And before that, there's basically no way to do that. Other than this, group play is very easy to set up. So in Diablo 4, you have like this scaling, like monster levels, for example. And as far as I'm aware, like monsters actually scale to your own character level, even if you're in a party with different levels of players, at least in like a certain range. So probably when you go to the higher end game difficulties, there's going to be some kind of like limits, like an upper limit and a lower limit and these kind of things. But there's going to be, some kind of like scaling involved that makes it easier for everyone to just group up and play together. And that's it, what I have to share here on the Diablo 4 social features so far. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.